when it comes to a standout driver for the first quarter, who are you nominating?
So I'm going to pull from the F1 Academy, and this is a driver that we've actually talked a lot about recently in our recent episodes. It's Dorian Pin. So far she's accumulated 32 points for the F1 Academy. She's representing Mercedes with Prima Racing and is currently third in the standings. We all know what happened recently with her, where she had a 20-second penalty and had actually won the race, but then ended up not winning it because of the penalty. But I think that so far, this season, she's had a great performance, and I think that she has a lot of potential. And I'm just really excited to see what she does for the rest of the 2024 season.
Well, since Esha took mine, I think Dorian Penn is the obvious answer. And I've got to confess again, of course, I'm a much more casual sports car viewer, but even I have been able to hear about the great things that Dorian Penn's been doing on that side of the motorsports world. And then coming in here to F1 Academy, certainly everybody that had her as a preseason championship favorite, I think is certainly looking pretty good right now, even though she did unfortunately have that penalty in race 2, which I think was, again, I mean, on the theme of talking about SVG's penalty this weekend, I think certainly far too harsh given the circumstances, but we don't need to beat a dead horse any more than we already have. I guess I'll just go down the standings one bit and talk about the driver that inherited the race 2 victory. Abby Pulling, I think, has been certainly the best of the rest in F1 Academy so far this year. I don't know that she's going to be able to take the fight to Dorian Penn from a championship in F1 Academy, but she has certainly been a bright spot for Alpine, whose F1 team obviously is off to a terrible start to the year. At least they've got something to smile about here in one of the junior categories with F1 Academy, and what Abby Pulling's doing. I would not put another race win past her this year. And again, I'm sure she was thrilled to inherit the win, but I'm sure any racing driver would want to actually win the race by crossing the finish line first on track and not have an unfortunate set of circumstances lead to a victory like that. So I'm sure she's going to be more fired up than ever once we come back for Miami and for the rest of the F1 Academy season to try to take the fight to Dorian, and we'll see what happens there. But both of them off to great starts for the year. But Esha, like you mentioned, Dorian Penn is certainly setting a very high standard. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with her beyond this year, assuming she does go on to win this championship, which looks like she's now a heavy favorite to do so.
2 great picks. I'm going to go with a pick that nobody mentioned, Erica Enders from the National Hot Rod Association. They kicked off the season with a win. Remember, she is the defending champion. She's going for another record championship this year. She leads the points. There are 2 races into the season, and Erica Enders overall, I feel, has really shown if you're going to contend for the Pro Stock Championship, the road, you have to deal with Erica Enders for that championship battle, because she is, again, off to a fast start. We got to remember last year, Erica Enders, the first, I believe, 7 races, we were talking about what's going on. She failed to qualify for one of the races, because there you have to qualify. You cannot rely on professionals. Struggle. She turned that season around, got a championship. Here we are. She's starting the season off strong. I think she's definitely going to be a contender for the championship. So Erica Enders is my nomination for this quarter. And of course, as I mentioned, April, May, and June are coming up. 24 hours of Le Mans, that's going to be coming up in June. We got more F1 Academy in May, and ARCA will continue to have more races. So Ben, starting with you, is there any particular driver you'll be watching as a potential breakout in the next 3 months?
Well, again, we'll see what her schedule looks like, because, of course, she's still coming back from the concussion that really set her back last year. But Isabella Robusto was an absolute superstar in Phoenix. And, for her to come in back to make her ARCA debut after not being able to do so last year because of the injury, and look like a veteran out there, to be quite honest, to already be ahead of her teammates, Tony Breidinger and Amber Balkan, who have significant ARCA experience. Not to say that they can't also take those steps forward throughout the year as well. We've talked about Tony Breidinger's improvements many times on this show as well, but for Isabella Robusto to be not just level with them, but even a little bit further up the running order than they were in just her first ever start, I think is a real warning sign for the rest of the field. I don't know how many starts she's going to get in ARCA this year, but she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think absolutely, if you have to look at a candidate for breakout potential star in the world of Women in Motorsports and the world of ARCA and the ARCA Menard series. She's definitely a name you've got to keep an eye on for sure.
That's a great pick, Ben. For my potential breakout, I'm going to pull from the F1 Academy once again. I'm going to talk about Bianca Bustamante. I know we've also talked about her on this show before, but she's one of the drivers that I was really excited about going into this F1 Academy 2024 season. I think she's put up some great performances last year, and I think she's really skilled. And I think that with her representing McLaren, she's going to do some great things this season. So I'm really excited to see her next few performances. I know so far she's had a decent enough to start to the 2024 season, but I think she's going to have a great amount of points at the end of the season, and I'm just excited to watch her in the next few races as well.
Those are two great picks. One driver I'm looking at from F1 Academy as well, Hamda Al-Kabasi. She got several wins last year. Overall, as she improved the consistency, she could be a top contender. This year hasn't exactly started off that great, but of course, they only done one race weekend at a brand new track. Now they're going to another new track, Miami. I think one of the big things for her is just to go back to what she always does, get back to her routine, and I think she could be up towards the front. So Hamda Al-Kabasi, who is racing with the Red Bull support, I think that's going to be one of the drivers to watch in the next 3 months in F1 Academy.